Challengers Quan LX and Big Angry Adams, ready to go blow by blow on those hot topics. Face Off on Fox Soul starts right now.
Influencer Jay Carnicom has been arrested in Florida. He built a following of over 1 million people by posing as a decoy to catch alleged child predators. He's been charged with extortion and battery. And according to investigators, Carnicom didn't just confront a suspect on camera. During a sting at Walmart, he allegedly slapped the man twice and tried to force him to eat used cigarette butts under the threat of calling the police. Here are some of his other interactions with alleged predators from social media.
Hey, don't make me hurt you, bro.
One more for the home team.
Hey, what you here doing, Marcus? You trying to be a 13-year-old boy?
Hey, watch your phone. Your phone's ringing.
Don't leave, man. You came here to get a little girl pregnant, right? You want to get her pregnant, right?
Hey, touch us. I'm going to smack you in his face. Shut up.
Excuse me, everybody! This guy right here came to get a 13-year-old girl!
In this round, here's Charles Big Angry Adams.
Well, while extrajudicial violence seems to be a recurring theme this week on the show, this is one of the founders of Dads Against Predators, Jay Carnicom, right? He has had a series of criminal charges and run-ins with law enforcement. And the question is what he's doing good or bad? I will say that DAP's ability to identify and establish inculpatory evidence enough to put people in prison for years of predators begs the question of why are they forced to do this, right? We spend billions on law enforcement every year. And I don't think there's a more important law enforcement task than protecting children from sexual molestation. And of course, in this era of online continuous accessibility to kids by stranger adults, even despite we've seen with the Roblox scandals and all of these others, even when parents make tremendous effort to shelter their kids, that these predators find a way to weasel themselves in, and it leads to horrible, horrible outcomes. Here, you have a group of men focused on identifying these. And some, like in Winston-Salem in North Carolina, this same man, Jay Carnicom, got shot by a predator that they went and met. In Travis County, in the Austin area where I am right now, there was an incident in Lakeway, Texas, where that led to 5 members of DAP being charged with organized crime by a local district attorney who seems far more concerned with taking action against these men than taking action against sexual predators. But we have a broken criminal justice system in my hometown of Austin, which is tied to far left progressive ideas that the bad guys are some other victims. But the current charge, Clay County Sheriff's Department, the sheriff came out and said, "Look, I get why people would be upset, but you can't." I think the allegations were he beat him and extorted him into eating cigarettes and stuff. But here's the thing: we see all kind of monsters constantly. Here in Houston, in Austin right now, there's a guy that murdered a homeless woman. An African American man killed this white homeless woman, and then there's video of him cleaning the blood off and getting rid of the clothes immediately after he committed the murder. And the DA Garza just decided not to prosecute it. Shot a woman in the head in cold blood. It's insane. So if we have all these district attorneys' offices all over the country making these capricious decisions on what is worth their law enforcement energies and what is not, I would say going after guys that are very clearly targeting predators, dealing with predators, and they may be behaving extrajudicially, but there ain't nothing that I don't think they don't deserve. And I think this prosecutor and the sheriff should spend their time fighting actual crime. But that's just my opinion.
I think the real problem here is that the sheriff and the prosecutor of that county doesn't like the embarrassment that men like this and organizations like this bring to law enforcement. We spend more money, in my belief, in my opinion, on running prostitution sting operations than putting those resources to online sexual predators chasing and going after children. Charles, this man should be applauded. This man should be given a key to the city. This man is a local hero in that city and in that county, in my opinion. When you have someone set up a sting operation and catch a sexual predator going to impregnate a 13-year-old child, when you see they catch men going after kids as young as 9 and 10 years old, and because he made him eat some cigarette butts and slapped him, he should go to jail? Hell no. That man should be applauded. I'm just shocked and surprised and disappointed in the young man that he didn't eat his fist, that he didn't eat the rubber on his shoes. Because I'm a father of a 13-year-old child. Man, please. I know what I would do. You come to have sex and pregnant my 13-year-old daughter, I don't give a damn about no sheriff telling me about don't slap him, don't make him eat cigarette butts. Are you serious? See, that's what we've come to in this country. We have a lot of sympathy, whether we want to admit it or not, for sexual predators. Look at the Epstein files. Look at Epstein Island. Nobody's really been prosecuted about that. We have a lot of lenient sentences that's being given to sexual predators. You had a case right there here in Texas, in Edna, Texas, where a high school coach was having an inappropriate sexual relationship with a teenage girl, 13 years old, after school. His father was the superintendent. He had, on multiple occasions, he had sex with her, but yet he was given probation. Charles, we have this unwritten rule that under certain circumstances, we're lenient with sexual predators who go after our children. There should be a universal law, a universal response, and a universal consequence for such men. I really believe that they should castrate them. Once you found guilty, beyond a reasonable doubt, that you preyed on a child, you should be castrated. Secondly, I believe they should be given a tattoo to wear on their face that we can identify these predators, because some people are living in neighborhoods and you don't even know your next door neighbor is a convicted sexual predator. The man down the street where your child go to shoot basketball or play volleyball or play softball with the kids, right around that park is 3 or 4 sexual predators. People don't even know this. I think that we should have a more easier way of identifying these predators among us. Put a tattoo on their face, so if we see you in a restaurant, we know who you are. We see you in the mall, we know who you are. We see you around some children, we know who you are. See you in the barbershop, we know who you are. Let's not allow them to be cloaked and covered with the protection of society where members of our community and our society cannot identify these men and women.
One thing, so chemical castration is most certainly something that can destroy the sexual function of predators.
Chemical castration?
Yeah, when they get shots. And
no, I'm talking about the butcher knife. I'm talking about the scalpel. I'm talking about the jigsaw.
I get that, right? But this is something we do have a cruel, unusual punishment phrase embedded into the Bill of Rights to the United States Constitution.
You rape a child?
Hey, look, I'm not taking up for them. I'm just telling you what's judicially accomplishable, right? And so, well, I absolutely don't disagree. I mean, I like the idea. One of the other problems is that sexual assault of a child is not always about sex, it's about power and violence. Mm-hmm. So sometimes even when they've been castrated chemically, they still are a potential danger to children. They are the most unfixable of criminals because they have an appetite for something that requires victimization. And yes, they can fly under the radar. I think you're referring to Ken Paxton, who is now vying against John Cornyn in the runoff for our Republican primary in the United States Senate. Ken Paxton absolutely was involved in a sweetheart deal for a sexual predator who received a very little consequence, right? So it always seems to depend on who the allegations are focused on, even when there's a wealth of evidence. I agree with everything you said, which is, because I disagreed with it when you were taking a markedly different position for Sean Combs. You spent months standing for P. Diddy I'm guessing that
But
the
the
difference
jury
is, of
found him
course,
not
that
guilty of
I
rape.
think the difference is there's an overwhelming amount of
But the
evidence.
jury found him not guilty of rape.
So there's this overwhelming evidence that he's a predator, right? And the whole time you were
That's not
standing
what the
for him.
jury
And
concluded.
I think the key difference here is that he was a famous African American artist. So you're like, oh, I'm Quad
That's
Alex, I'm
not
going to
what
take
the
his
jury
side.
concluded.
The
The
jury
jury didn't
made some
find him as
very,
a sexual
very clear
predator.
about.
The jury did
and
not
there was
find
some-
him guilty. They found him not guilty for being a sexual predator.
Look.
They found him not guilty for pimping and pandering and prostitution. They didn't believe those allegations. They found him guilty of something else, not being a sexual predator.
There is no one in this world other than someone that is okay with sexual predators that is still taking Sean Combs' side after hearing all that
This
evidence.
man was a
And that's the
super
thing.
freak.
You were describing a
adults who were really
hypocrisy that you are victim to. And I think
He was
you
a
do it based
super
on
freak
skin
with
color as opposed to
adults
facts.
that were willing participants.
There are plenty of people that testified that didn't. We've all seen the video of him hovering over Cassie and punching her in the
But the
face
jury
over and
didn't
over
find him
again.
guilty of that either.
You took his side on that too.
No,
So when I
the
listen
jury
to
didn't believe
when I
Cassie.
listen to you
And
lecture
so has more of a
America,
conspiracy than the
especially white America, on whether or not it's okay, which I think it's never okay, white, black, brown, Asian, whatever. It rings kind of hollow coming from you because your decision on most of these cases is purely based on whether Quad Alex Farrakhan looks like him or not.
But do you understand that 99% of all of the men implicated in the Epstein files of going to the island and raping children and doing unspeakable crime to children are white men, not black men?
Okay.
And these white men have not been prosecuted.
And I think they all should be prosecuted. I think
And they have not been prosecuted. So your argument doesn't hold up.
You continually make this argument that white men are somehow have an outsized representation in sexual assault and sexual assault of a child,
No,
which
I don't
actually, actually, the demographics
I think
fully
most
support.
sexual assaults go unreported, especially with children.
Okay, but the FBI data makes it very clear that there is only one demographic with an outsized portion of people accused and people convicted of sexual assault of both a child and an adult. And if you look at the sexual assault ratios, like we had like a 7-year period in America where no white men were accused of sexually assaulting any black women, and it was like 30,000 the other way. So, I mean, if you want to racialize this constantly, which is what you're clearly trying to do once again.
What you're doing right now.
No, it's
You're really grabbing for straws now.
I'm actually using
Is it
data.
possible,
That's when you
though?
start
Is
screaming
it
and
possible?
interrupting me.
But is it possible that you have more black men dating white women than black women dating white men? Maybe you have more white women attracted to black men and going to a relationship with black men than you
I'm
have
talking
black
about
women
rape,
going
not
with
dating.
white men. But there have been a number of cases where black women have either been killed or even had to kill their white husband because for spousal abuse and attacks.
Okay, look, I get that you're going to make up a bunch
Maybe
of
there's
stuff.
more
You're lying
interracial
again.
relationships with black men and
but
white women that increases those numbers.
I'm not talking about relationships. I'm talking about rape, right? And because you brought it up and you tried to racialize it.
So you
I
trying to
don't think
lie?
it should be racial.
See
No,
black men
no.
out here hunting white women.
No, I think that we see from the data that your
Why you think
attempt
that all these
to
light-skinned
talk
black
about
people
how
in America?
white
Where all these light-skinned black people come from in America?
it's again
From
just
white
you
rape.
and
For
another
hundreds of
attempt.
years of white male rape against black women. Where you think the word mulatto came from? From white men raping black women for hundreds of years.
Absolutely.
All these light-skinned
Absolutely.
African brothers and sisters you see in America
Absolutely.
come from a legacy of rape in America, not interracial love with white men.
Absolutely, the transatlantic slave trade in the period of slavery in America had horrible outcomes for the victims of slavery, right? Now all the way up until it ended with the brutal Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation. I know you like to talk about 150 years ago, but I'm talking about again. I know you like the AI stuff and the white people. I'm talking about the last 30 years in America. And I think all sexual predators should be prosecuted. You only think white sexual predators should be, and that's what's horrible about you. So please save your lectures, right?